Whatever, y'all. Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, it seems that there's a little game that came out of nowhere called Hi-Fi Rush. I got the name right this time. And Hi-Fi Rush versus, I don't know, a game that's kind of exclusive for 2 years on the PlayStation called Forespoken, sorry. Yeah. You see what happens when you burn out your audience. Also, you see what happens when you treat the PC master race like plebeians. They don't take to that lightly. If you're gonna make a game for the PC, it needs to be able to run extremely efficiently and well with a 4090, not putt. You know what I mean? You cannot unoptimize. You cannot have an unoptimized game for the PC and expect people to buy it. That's not how it works, Sony. And you're learning the large lesson, the hard lesson. You're learning it now in real time. Microsoft has known this for decades because they started it on PC. And now, look at you, And it's not, it's not an overall Sony thing. It's just whatever, I don't know, Square Enix or whatever. But look, Sony, you had to deal with them for exclusivity, so it's kind of your fault too. You got exclusive garbage, exclusive unoptimization. That's what you got. Besides, Bang Bang Rush. Besides Hi-Fi Rush destroying Forsaken. It also is charting higher than Forsaken. Okay, Hi-Fi Rush is number 8 or number 9 on the Steam chart. Steam, PC, right? And that's for sales and everything. On the same chart, guess where Forespoken is? Guess where it is? 101. Come on, son. This is like what? A $30 game versus a $70 game. Now, it has also come to our attention that Hi-Fi Rush has made more money than Forespoken at half the price. How does that? Also, on Game Pass. You see what I'm saying? So it's like people are buying it, even though it's on Game Pass. It's a better game. This is what video games used to be when there wasn't a kind of expectation of AAA. AAA doesn't bring in the money as you see Forespoken has done, right? So I don't think Sony's gonna learn a lesson because they have conditioned their fans to expect a certain game from them. A PlayStation game is this narrative, blah blah blah. If it's not that, it's not AAA. That's a flaw. That's a flaw in logic. That is not logic. That's just a flaw in ideology. I don't know what it is, but it's a flaw. And approaching video games in that way is going to be very expensive, and it's not a formula for success. I don't know how long it's going to take Sony to realize this. They should have realized this already with Astrobot. They should be pumping out so many Astrobot games. It's ridiculous. The fact that Astrobot doesn't have a PSVR 2, release when it comes out is ridiculous. That's not, So their priorities are all out of whack. PSVR 2 cut in half. I did a video about that earlier this morning. And it's just crazy that Hi-Fi Rush shadow dropped and is destroying the AAA bangers that Sony wasted their money on, basically. And besides that, it was something else. What was it? It was, that's what it was. I remember. Sony has been bragging about, you got the unit sales, they got all this and they got all that, right? But what really is important is monthly active users, right? MAUs. I guess that's what the acronym is. It's not an acronym. So it's come to our attention that Microsoft has more monthly active users than PlayStation. How does that? How? Oh yeah, that's right. They lost like 2 million, but that's not even it. Microsoft reported to have 120 for Xbox. Now that's across all of the devices, right? So PC, I was gonna say handheld, PC, phones, Xbox, TVs now. 120 million. Sony has 102 million active users. You see where the flaw in their strategy is? You see where, go buy a PlayStation 5? That's the biggest flaw. Them stuck in the past, that same old business model is hurting their sales because Xbox hasn't sold as many PlayStation 5s, but they have more monthly active users. How's that work? How's that math work? We know how it works because not everybody wants to buy Xbox. A lot of people have PCs. They make up the difference. So the winning strategy is what Microsoft is doing because literally they have more people playing on their stuff on Xbox, Game Pass, whatever. So, I mean, it's another lesson that needs to be learned by Sony. They don't. I don't know. You know what? Some people are just stubborn. Some people don't want to learn. Some people don't want to change. I used to be like that. You know, my mom is very stubborn. My dad's very stubborn. And, you're going to inherit a certain percentage of those traits. That's fine. But I'm aware of the fact that I am stubborn. But I use that to my advantage. So I say, okay, I'm stubborn. I can be stubborn if I apply myself. So what do I want to be stubborn about? Let me be stubborn about eating better. I'm not going to eat crap. I stopped drinking coffee because I'm stubborn. And although people say, oh, coffee's not bad for you, coffee's good for you, whatever. For me, coffee is the spikes, and it also brings out more aggression in one because it's I was going to say barbiturate, but it's not a barbiturate. It's the opposite of that. And so now I'm nice and calm and cool. Still angry, but I can control it better. So being stubborn can be useful if you use it the right way. If you use your energy, whatever form it is created in, whatever form it takes initially, you can change that energy to your advantage. You can change it to help people. You can change it in any way you feel or seem fit or is necessary at the moment, right? And that's the key, not the key to life, but for me, it's been an important kind of control in this world that we don't control. And so Sony, they're stubborn in the bad ways. It's not like, they're stubborn in that, they're gonna make the best okay, I'll give them, they're stubborn in that they put a lot of money and time into games, I guess. They let their studios make the games. But that's it. Everything else is like, no. Their business model's old. They're sticking to the console stuff. They don't want to grow. They don't want to be part of the future. They're dragging the past into the future. And imagine if every company was like that. We would never get like new, cool, innovative games because they would all be the same. And what's happening over at PlayStation is that people are getting tired of that formula. I know Fred Ross, I've been tired of it for a minute. Fred Ross has kind of aired his, not grievances, but his opinions about that same old formula. Every game's the same. People are starting to see it. And when your game is that same old formula, but not as good, or the gameplay is kind of whack, or there's something a little bit wrong with that cinematic storytelling script acting part that you're, pumping out so much, then guess what? Your game is hot trash garbage because you haven't emphasized the other parts of video games. Fun, gameplay, the gameplay loop. It may be functional in your AAA bangers like The Last of Us and all that stuff, but alone is that gameplay loop enough to have people keep playing the game, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's just a regular old PlayStation 2 game with better controls. But what makes it a PlayStation 5 game? The cinematics? That doesn't make any sense. It makes sense, but it's not sustainable. I'll say that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think as far as kind of Sony's direction. They're lacking in insight or hindsight, or not hindsight, but they're lacking vision for games. I'm not saying they haven't ever made a cool game. Like I said Astrobot. That's probably the only game that they're making currently that's kind of in that vein. Besides that, they got nothing, and they keep emphasizing all these AAA bangers. And when I say that a Sony AAA banger, it's a formula, and you know what it is. So let me know. Do they need to do something else? Do they need to do a Boom Boom Rush? Do they need to do a Hi-Fi Rush? It's gonna be like, oh, they're biting now, right? And the thing about Hi-Fi Rush, one last thing, is that it is inspired by other games. I hear people say, oh, well, it's like Jet Set Radio and Sunset Overdrive and all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I think the best thing about it, besides, and here's one thing that people haven't said about Hi-Fi Rush. The combat is literally like Spiderman. Once you get the magnetic grapple hook jammy thing, it's exactly like Spider-Man. You go zip, you whip over to the guy, beep, beep, boop. You hit zip over to the other guy, beep, beep, boop. Same thing. I was like, I've heard no one say that. Why? With saying that it's the gameplay is like Spider-Man, diminish Spider-Man, or illustrate how fantastic the actual combat and gameplay in Spider-Man is. And then you say, well, why is it so cool? Oh, because of the cinematics and the QTEs and all that stuff, right? Once again. So, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is doing the effect fizzle. Xbox is coming out strong in this 2023. I think this is a good look for the first bit of the year, and I hope it continues. Let me know what y'all think about this whole situation. Hi-Fi Rush beating the bricks off of Forespoken, and all other stuff too. Whatever you want to talk about in the comments, it's fine. It's always an open forum. Just be good to each other. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Till the wait.